Self-esteem, stress, and public speaking all have something in common. Today, our inspiration is coming from research published in the journal Health Education Research. And the article is called Self-Esteem in a Broad Spectrum Approach for Mental Health Promotion. And the reason why we're going to discuss the connection today and go over this article is because we had a speech partier in today's live public speaking workshop that asked me, how is self-esteem related to public speaking and confidence? And what's fascinating is that this was an incredibly intuitive question. The hormones, the chemistry behind self-esteem and stress is actually very much studied and very much related. So specifically in this article, I'm going to take some of these tidbits out and then we'll discuss and figure out how to practically apply it in public speaking and in life. So for example, these researchers, they found and they reviewed and they discussed in this article how self-esteem is actually a protective factor. And it is something that helps you with physical and mental health. Specifically, you can actually be healthier if you have higher self-esteem. How is that even possible? Now, they're saying in terms of a spectrum of health and social behaviors, you have lots of benefits from being confident in yourself, which very much is another way of saying that you have self-esteem. Now, on the other hand, when you have a low self-esteem, there are things like depression, eating disorders, anxiety, being affected more strongly by stress. This can be externalized in terms of violence and substance abuse. So all these things relate to having a lower self-esteem. And what's really important is we first identify where we are on the spectrum of believing in ourselves, of seeing how much self-esteem that we have, because really it comes down to, do we value ourselves as much as we should? And my guess is that a lot of us undervalue how incredible that we are. When this topic came up at our event today, I would say several people kind of raised their hand and agreed that they have a sense of doubt about what they can do. And we have to be strong during these times. This is a period in which we cannot think twice about our self-esteem. Therefore, how can we build this self-esteem, and why is it so important? And how many research papers do they cite here in this article that don't just theorize, but actually prove that self-esteem is crucial? So what we talked about just generally is how self-esteem is about assessing the threat when you have stress. For example, when you're giving a presentation, you are assessing how much you can address the threat of public speaking. In the survival brain, what's happening is it's perceiving public speaking as a threat. And do you have the resources that allow you to address the threat? This is all happening on an ancient hardwiring type level. And you can train yourself to rise to the occasion and to turn this bad prey stress into good predatory stress by boosting your self-esteem. So we talked about how yesterday, instead of calling stress stress, we call it a performance enhancer. Or we say something like, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited. Similarly, you need to tell yourself how amazing you are, how confident you are, how eloquent you are, how much you are able to articulate important concepts on stage when it's important. So potentially you've found yourself feeling a little bit self-conscious in a meeting or something like this, and you might be hard on yourself. You might have an internal language where you say something like, oh, I'm such an introvert, or I never speak up. One of the ways that you can boost your self-esteem is reframe what you're telling yourself and instead say, I'm a very thoughtful person in meetings. How can I speak up more? So these simple changes in our language and how we describe what's happening is super important, and that relates to the video that I did yesterday on the live stream. So the question is how do we continue to build this self-esteem and really value ourselves? The bottom line is the odds of you being born are 1 in 400 trillion. You're meant to do something in this world that no one else can do, and you have experiences, you have hobbies, you have all kinds of things that combine together to make you capable to do something that no one else can do. When you recognize that and when you tell yourself that every day, then you're going to have an ability to bounce back from all kinds of things in life, according to this article, because your self-esteem will be much higher. And it's not just important for you when you're on stage. In any situation, when you need to rise to the occasion, you need to be in the habit of telling yourself very good, wonderful things so that you're prepared mentally to address the situation. A lot of times, the way that we're able to turn bad stress to good stress is just by reappraising it or rethinking it. So I have prepared for you, along with the speech partiers, mantras. Each one of us came up with a different mantra stating what we wanted to embody as an ideal communicator. And then we stated some sort of statement in the affirmative that we have that. So that is posted on the channel. Think of the different qualities that you want to embody in life as a communicator, write them down and say them to yourself. Specifically, visualize yourself taking on these characteristics before you go to sleep. Sleep is a powerful way to rewire the brain. And what you do just before you go to bed is going to very much influence how you are changing yourself and growing as a person. So if you want to take advantage of this research and grow and build your self-esteem, it is a muscle. You can do it. It's incredibly important for your health, for how you perform on stage. This is how you are changing the way that you appraise stress and turning it from bad stress to good stress. And there's a lot of motivation to help you recognize that. So what questions do you have about self-esteem? For example, another speech partier said, I hang around people who make me feel bad. And that, unfortunately, sometimes is the case. And aside from minimizing how much time you spend from that person, potentially even anticipating that when you spend time with them, they're not going to make you feel good, what can you do beyond that? This is where I say you need a manifesto to essentially declare who you are, so that after you spend time with that person, you're reading that manifesto, that vision of yourself, the highest vision of yourself, whether it's as a communicator or in general, and then you're always able to refer back to this solid statement that you've come up with when you're clear-minded. So as an action step for all of us today, go ahead, write out a manifesto, and the next time you spend time with someone who doesn't make you feel so good, get out that manifesto, read it, and see how it makes you bounce back from that experience and maintains this high baseline of self-esteem, which is so important to performing and to health. So go ahead and share your comments. If you want to join us for next Sunday, we have live public speaking practice where we learn how to build our self-esteem using public speaking, where we learn how to overcome stress by experiencing short sprints of it in public speaking, and also where we just get great at public speaking. So I very much invite you there. The link to join is below. It's completely free and it is a ton of fun. So we are so excited to see you there. Have the best weekend and hope to see you then. Bye.